cloud. And so anyway, welcome everyone to crowdfunding for your book, for your new book or your first book. It doesn't really matter. It would work the same, and you might be able to use crowdfunding for other things too. And Lisa's been delayed. She's in Sweden, and there's a little bit of an internet problem, which I have at my house, so I understand. I have to come clear into town, a half hour, set up all my equipment, because at my house on this organic Mandarin ranch, my internet goes in and out. But until Lisa comes, I'm going to help you and show you a bunch of the attributes about Amazon. Amazon is completely free to self-publish on. And I can also talk about traditional publishing or any questions you have. But what I'd like to do is a little bit of housekeeping first. So I want to tell you that I am teaching a wonderful workshop. Oh, sorry, I had his address up here. I'm teaching a wonderful workshop this Friday, and it's going to be a workshop. Is amazing, and I'm in his group, and he's asked me to teach a workshop on the 3 books every entrepreneur should have, and it will also help you with your other books. So I'm going to teach you. Let's see, let me grab this. Sorry, I put someone else's link in there, and I need to find this. So it's going to be an hour and a half workshop on how easy it is to publish and what books you can do. And also what I'm mainly focusing on, here's the link so you can just check out the information. What I'm mainly focusing on is how to use material you already have to make a book. A lot of people don't realize they have so many writings that are already good and ready to go. I have a friend, colleague and client in this town, and she's written 500 blogs, really well written. And I said to her, you have 5 books there. So we started making books out of her blogs. Turns out she has 20. So we're going to use the same cover and a different color for each set and make a series, because series are really in right now, whether you're writing a novel or a business book or in any genre. Series end up selling each other. So it's kind of like books beget books. And the more books you put on Amazon, the more books you'll sell, because you'll be building your algorithm. So series are really in. So think about things you already have written, but check out this workshop. It's an hour and a half workshop. It's leading into another workshop where we're going to actually write a book on Saturday, publish it on Sunday. And I'm going to show you exactly all the steps to do and everything. And Dr. He's a worldwide parent whisperer, and he does all these workshops, and he had me put together his anthology for 34 people in his group, and that turned out really good. It was a parenting handbook. And he's supporting all kinds of entrepreneurs, but he's amazing, and I'm really honored that he's asked me to come and teach these classes for him. So anyway, I think what I'll do is I'll start with you guys, and we'll go through. I have this list here. It's a class I teach on all the attributes that Amazon offers, because most people miss half of them. And how many of you, if put in the chat, are you thinking of self-publishing or trying the traditional route? Put that into the chat so I can see what kind of group I have here. There's a lot more people signed up for this class, and I hope they're not having trouble getting into it. And a lot of people signed up that just want the replay, so that's okay too. But anyway, put that into chat. Self, yeah. I really do suggest self-publishing, at least at first, because traditional publishing can take you 2 years to find an agent, 2 more years to find a publisher, and 2 years to be published, unless you just luck out and it just happens. I was on a workshop 2 days ago, and they had Neil Donald Walsh on, and it turns out his story was so great. He was self-published, and I mean, he wasn't self-published. What I'm saying is, sorry, he was homeless, and he had lost his job. He lived in the street for a year, which I was so surprised to hear. And he ended up finally getting a meager apartment, and he sat there not knowing what to do. He didn't have a job. So he took out these yellow notepads and he got really angry at God. So he wrote God an angry letter. And then God told him, or a voice came or something and said, keep writing these letters. So he did, and he filled like 3 or 6, I can't remember, yellow pads. And then someone found him and said they would want to publish his book. And the rest is history. Now he's written 40 books. So you never know what will happen to you. Just write it and then put it out. That's probably the main thing to do. So anyway, it's exciting what can happen. We don't know. We don't know who will want our book. And even if you self-publish, The Martian was self-published, but he had sold like millions of copies by accident. I don't know how he did it. And he finally got taken on by a traditional publishing company, and then they wanted to make the movie, and the rest is history. So you never know. It's just good to write it, get it out, put it out. Now on Amazon, I want to show you because there's a front page and a back page. At the front page of Amazon, this is where people get confused, is where you buy your stuff. You buy books, you buy face cream, whatever you're buying. That's the front page of Amazon. And they give you a website. They give you a complete web page. It's like amazing. And the back page of Amazon is called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, which actually publishes your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover, and I also have done my audiobook. You can do your audiobook there. So it doesn't really just mean Kindle. It's I don't know why they call it that. It's a bad name. It confuses people. And so the back page is where you build the front page. It's like a website, but they just give you a form. You just fill it out. Super easy. And here's the thing that confuses everyone. The front page where you buy things and the back page where you load your books is the same password. Yeah, so think about that. And that confuses a lot of people that I teach and work with. So I'm going to show you the front page first to show you all the attributes that you can get. This is a book we just launched. Hold on, let me talk to Dennis. Hi, Dennis. Are you having trouble? Okay, then I think that's on you. So just come on and get what you can out of it, and then you'll get the replay too, or else you can wait for the replay. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, okay. Got to treat my architect well, right? Okay, so anyway, so here we are. This is a book we launched this week. We're doing the real launch on Friday. And it's a wonderful book. If you want to buy it and support us, that'd be great. It's usually $35, but for some reason, Amazon put it down to $22.78, which I'm really glad about because now all of the contributors can buy it. And we have like 15 contributors, and here's the back cover with them on it. And it's just a beautiful cover, and it has so many amazing recipes. The woman who put this book together, Susan Govia, she asked me to put it together for her. I've been in her goddess group for 10 years. We meet and we have these potlucks of the most amazing food. Everybody makes gourmet, and sometimes she just cooks for us. She'll cook like 10, 20 things and put it out. And so she's amazing. So if you want to support us, that'd be great to get the book today. You won't believe the recipes. A lot of them are gluten-free. There's a lot of organic. There's some face creams. There's just it's eclectic. It's an eclectic book. So we kind of gave a free for all for everyone to have 12 pages in the book, and so you might enjoy that. But anyway, I want to show you how it works. So up here, they give you your title and your subtitle. Now, a title and a cover, I've heard from one of my mentors, is a business decision, especially your cover. Everyone who sees this cover flips out and loves it. Oh, mute yourself, everybody. Okay, and so then, uh, and your subtitle is important. So if your title is esoteric, then make your subtitle an explainer. And not every book, I think a lot of novels don't have subtitles, so I don't know which one a lot of you are doing. But anyway, so first of all, they give you this beautiful picture of your book right next to your title. And then they say, when was your book published? Look, we were published October 8th. Now, if you're doing an anthology, most people don't know this, but there's a place when you're loading your book in KDP in the back end where you can list 10 of the authors, including yourself. And then I always end up listing the authors with the most books or the most clout. And in this book, our foreword was written by Eddie Brill, who used to open the Tonight Show as a comedian, or one of those shows. And he's flying out from New York for our on Friday. So he's amazing. And so we had him write the foreword. That's another trick. Get someone who's famous or semi-famous or has a lot of books to write your foreword. And that way you're connected to their books and it sells more books for you. It's really an exciting thing to do. And a lot of people don't know that. I was just in a workshop with Corey yesterday, and he said the exact same thing. He said, get someone famous or with a lot of books to write your foreword, and that will really help you promote your book. And so they give you that if you're doing that. Otherwise, it's just your name right here. And then they say, oh, we got the paperback. Now, as soon as we get the ebook up, it'll be here, the audiobook and the hardcover. They'll all be here in a line for people to buy. And then they give you a place to do a description. Now, here's the secret to descriptions. Most descriptions, there's a little more on here if it was longer. And most people will only read the first 3 to 5 sentences. So make sure you put all your trigger words and your most important information in the first 3 to 5 sentences. And it's like Facebook. Keep your posts short because nobody will click more, hardly anyone on the planet. So then it comes down here and they give you a whole line. It's 190 pages. It's in English. It was printed here. Here's how big the book is. We did, because it was a cookbook, we did 8 by 10. Industry standard for most books is 6 by 9. And then down here, they give you a place to put your picture and your bio again, and your bio. So they give you 2 places to do that. But first of all, we're up here and they give you a sample. Let's have a sample of the book. This is amazing attribute. I think Amazon gives us so much that I am one of their best. I sing their praises all the time. So here it is. Here's a copyright page, our dedication, our table of contents. Now, to see how you want your table of contents to look, because when you self-publish, every single decision is up to you. So when you see, when you say, how do I want my table of contents to do? Go get all the books off your shelf, 10 books, and open them up and see how other people did the table of contents. And then that way, you can see what you like and what you want. Where did they put the page numbers? What are their covers like? And a great way to research covers is to go to Amazon, look in books in your genre and titles and get ideas how you want your book to look, and then send it to a cover maker, maybe on Fiverr with 2 R's. We have a great cover maker now, $45. And I paid $500 for this book, my grandmother's book, from Cowgirl to Congress, because I didn't know about Fiverr way back then. And so $45 for beautiful covers. I'm having all my clients do it. And then you go down and you see, well, what do you want your chapter title to look like? Where's your page numbers on this long book? Here's Eddie Brill and our foreword from him. And he put in his family's recipe, a creamsicle smoothie. It looks yummy. I'm going to try every recipe in this book. I'm so excited. Here's Susan Govia, the head goddess. She's the most lovely person. And Everybody loves her. She has like 800 members in her goddess company, and she's just amazing person. And here's a story someone wrote in a newspaper about her. We put in, and then our person who designed the book put these beautiful collages together of of things that were done. And then when you're doing like an anthology or in one, we do a picture and a bio, and then we start their first page. And so, and here's the thing though, we did color on these, and this book is super expensive. It's $17 for us to buy author copies. That is another one of the most amazing attributes of Amazon, is they let you buy author copies at price. This book, my grandmother's book, is $4.50. I can buy as many of these as I want. And the best way to sell them is I go speak to women's groups, and almost everyone there feels obligated to buy my book. So I sell a lot of books when I speak there. I just spoke at a luncheon with 40 women. They all bought the book. So that is a great thing about Amazon, is they let you buy the books at cost. So, but when we put the color pictures into the cookbook, the price went up to $17. We can't believe it. But now it's $22. And so buying it now with no shipping on Prime actually is cheaper than us buying it at cost. So we did a lot of those, and they come sooner. So we have these little tricks. And so anyway, let's see, where am I? Am I here? Yeah. So I'm here still inside the book. Oh, did I show you inside the book, or did I undo that? This is inside the book. I hope I showed you that. Anyway. And so they give you these samples. Now, if your book is super short, there won't be any sample pages. If it's medium, there'll be like 5. If it's a long book like this, there'll be like 12 or 20 sample pages. So here's the trick. You want to put, if you can, your best chapter, your most important things in the beginning of the book, because that might help people want to buy the book if they see that the first chapter is really interesting and good. And so then down here, they give us all the details again. Here's our ISBN number. Now, ISBN numbers with Amazon, here's the thing. You might want to take notes on this. If you aren't going to sell the book on your website or on other online sites, Amazon will give you a free ISBN. That still means you can sell the book on your website. You would just put the Amazon link on for selling it. And Amazon is pretty generous. They give us 1/3 of the sales price. That's pretty good, because if you go traditional, you might make $1 or $2 a book. I make $6 a book on this book right here. But then again, if you go traditional, you might sell more books. So it just, you have to weigh all that out. And so that ISBN number. Now, if you want your own ISBN numbers, which I do suggest if you're going to do more than one book, is to go to Bowker, Bowker, Bowker in the USA. If you're in, I think it's Canada, England, and Europe, then it's called either Nielsen or Nelson. I think it's Nielsen. And that's where you buy your numbers. Now with Bowker, we buy our numbers 10 for about $200. And because you need one for your hardcover and your paperback, but you don't need one for your ebook. I don't think you need one for your audiobook either, but we shouldn't even talk about audiobooks till you get your book up. Audiobooks can be completely free to publish. Don't let people tell you they're not. I have a tutorial on my YouTube. It's just Mila Johansson, my YouTube. I taught it at a book club I'm in, and we recorded it. So it's a very relaxed hour class about publishing your audiobook. And so then you only need you need 2 ISBNs. If you're only going to do the paperback and not the hardcover, which I always say do everything. The reason to do everything is it's real estate. And you might as well do everything, because you might sell 1 book there, 3 books there, 20 books there. So do it all, in my opinion. And of course, you don't have to. When you're self-publishing, every single thing is up to you. I work with plenty of clients, and I always say to them, everything I'm telling you is only a suggestion. You don't have to do anything I'm telling you. Of course, if you do, you'll be a success, but other than that, our book, right off the bat, look at this, made it into the top 100 bestsellers. When you're doing your um, categories, you want to pick at least one obscure one, which look at this, Latin American cooking, food and wine. That's obscure. So we'll stay there maybe forever. It's very hard to make your paperback a bestseller in the beginning. It just is. And if you get there, you're doing really, really well. The one, the seasonal cooking, which is a more popular subject, we were in there for a week. We've been in there till yesterday or so. So this is really good. Now watch this. We go down here and we go to Latin American cooking, and it says bestsellers. And if I go all the way down to 44, it shows our picture. We were number 11 earlier. So we are right up there in the top one. And then I take a screenshot. So I remember that. Where's my book? Ah, it's not, there it is. Oh, it must have just went down in the last few minutes. 49. There's the book here in the very top. So I took, where I could put Amazon bestsellers, and I took a screenshot. And then on your desktop, open a file and keep all your screenshots in there. All of my books have become bestsellers because I really know how to get it done. And I have a file with like 50 or 100 screenshots in it because I take one for everything that happens. So now we go back, and there we are with our categories. So categories have just changed. In June, Amazon made a lot of changes. So some of the things I tell you will have changed, and they keep changing it. And so most of it will hold true. One great thing about Amazon, this is one of the best attributes of them, they call you back. You go, once you join KDP, no, you might want to make a note of this. Then you go into community. There's 4 things at the top: bookshelf, report, community, marketing. In community, then you go to KDP University. And that's the reason to join early, because in KDP University, they have tons of tutorials and templates. You can get templates to type your book right into or dump your book right into. I was working with another woman, and she had a master's from her college days, and it was really a great one about Dennis. Oh. Hey, Dennis, I don't think I can talk right now. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, bye. Anyway, that's Dennis having trouble getting on. So, wait, what was I saying?
KDP templates.
Oh, yes, yes. So she took her whole master's thesis. We were together at our library. She lives in my town. And we took her thesis, and in 5 minutes, we dumped it into a template, and she had a book. She would just have to go through and maybe reformat a little. So that's something you can do. At the workshop I'm teaching on Friday, I'm actually giving out a template. But I also, so the reason to join KDP early, my mentor, when I have been traditionally published, and when I was publishing my grandmother's book, I had a woman helping me who was a whiz, and she said, join KDP now, even though you're not publishing for 6 months or a year. And I went, oh, okay. So I joined. Then I could take the tutorials and get the templates and all kinds of other attributes. So join now. You will have to join with a debit card because they want to know where to pay you later. You can't join without that. But I always suggest everyone to join now, and then you can get the templates. Now, when you get the templates, I'll show you that actually on the back end. So we're still on the front end showing all the attributes. Now we're down here, and they give you another place for your picture. So this person didn't know how to get their picture in yet. We teach that in the anthology. But here's Susan's, here's mine, and here's Gail's. And we're going to get all 15 people in here. But when it's your book, it will just be your picture and your bio. But you get your picture and bio in 2 places, here and at the top where we saw it before. And then we come on down here to reviews. Now reviews, we haven't got any yet because no one received their books. You can only have, now this is really important, a verified review if the person actually buys a book, not an author copy, but a real book. So we always ask our contributors in anthologies, excuse me, to buy a book, even though they're in the book, and then leave a verified review. I don't think we can leave one for ourselves, but contributors can. And so once you get your reviews, it's really going to help your algorithms and people discover you. My grandmother's book has like 62 or 69. It went really, really well. Once you get to 20, if you can get 20, beg, borrow, steal, ask everyone you know. And don't ever be embarrassed to tell everyone, I wrote a book, buy my book. Everybody buy my book. Just really shout it to the world and almost demand that they buy your book. In the end, probably 1/3 of my friends bought my book, but they were so excited that I had written a book, and most of them haven't. So it's still like a new wonderful thing, a mystery that you've written a book. So ask everyone to do it and ask everyone to buy the book, even your family, even people you're going to give it to, so they can leave a verified review. Here, I'm going to go back to, now the easiest way to get to yourself is just put your name in, go to Amazon Books. It's much easier than just putting in Amazon Books. Then I put Mila Johansson, and then all of my books show up. I have like 14, and they go here and go more. And then right here, my grandmother's book, here it is as a Audible book. But when you go here, you can see how many reviews I got, and I was really fortunate because 62 global ratings. I just heard on a summit I was in yesterday that when you get 1,000 reviews, which you'd have to be pretty famous to get that, your book will never stop selling. It will sell daily, and you will always be making money on it. And here they put words that people have used to search for my book. And most of my reviews are really, really good. It was a family member who left me the one little percentage. and then here's the reviews, and you can see this says verified purchase right down here. Verified purchase, verified purchase, verified purchase. So that's really, really important that you do that. And this is the audiobook. I just wanted to show you what a great thing is. You can pay $2,000 to $5,000 to have a professional read it through ACX. ACX is the Amazon sister that does the audiobooks. And you can just get right into it through KDP. And so I auditioned someone, and you can pay $2,000 to $5,000, or you can audition people and get someone to read it who will take half of the profits. And audiobooks are selling pretty well right now because, like me, I'm driving in and out of town, and all I do is listen to audiobooks. Then I always have to buy the book because I want to see how they designed it and what they did. But anyway, I just want to show you the sample really fast. This is the woman I picked to read my grandmother. I knew my grandmother in her 90s. She taught Eleanor Roosevelt public speaking, and she took me along when she spoke in Hollywood with Gloria Steinem, Marlo Thomas, and Jane Fonda all the time. So I didn't know her when she was young, but I tried to pick a voice that sounded like she was in her 60s because my grandmother had quite an amazing career.
Immediately upon arrival to Washington, D.C. in 1916, I became involved in the women's suffrage movement, which at that time was working to get a resolution through the U.S. Senate. In Boston, I had attended a lot of meetings on suffrage and birth control. Margaret Sanger often came up to Boston and lectured because they had a very bad law in Massachusetts and no information on birth control. I also went several times to hear Mrs. Pankhurst lecture when she came from England. I attended all the big suffrage meetings.
And then she met Alice Paul and had lunch at her house every day across from the White House. And my grandmother became the first woman lobbyist. the lobbyists for the movement. So anyway, that just gives you a sample of how that is. Now here's my paperback. Oh, look at my paperback. They have, my price is $17.95, which is a pretty price. Try not to go above that with your books unless it's the people are going to buy. Like I'm right now writing my book about how to do anthologies. That won't be for everyone. So I'm going to charge $33 for that book. I would never do that with the regular book. $17.95 is a pretty price for a longer book. And some people are doing $19.95. You just won't sell as many books. It's just been like a proven number. And look, they put my book down to 1126 because it's stalled now after 3 years. Oh, and you really know when you've arrived when, right down here, 4 used books and 2 collectible. That is so funny. 4 used books. So when your book becomes a used book, you've arrived. And so then I have down here, and I put my trigger words right in here. An eyewitness account of Jessie Haver Butler, suffragists on the front lines of women's movement, Alice Paul, Carrie Chapman Catt. Then down here, George Bernard Shaw, she was his speaking partner in London, Eleanor Roosevelt, Gloria Steinem, and Marlo Thomas. And what you might really be interested in is that she put together the Pulitzer School of Journalism as her second job out of Smith College. She grew up in a terrible, tragic childhood in Colorado. When a teacher saw how that she put together the Pulitzer School of Journalism, which is amazing, you know, if you think about that. So here it is, 300 pages down here. We have all the information. Whenever I do a sale, it becomes, it goes to #1. So we have Kindle, audio, and paperback, which is so cheap right now. I can't believe it. If you, this is your story of winning the right to vote, you want to grab it today. And so, and oh, and then they used to let us, and I'm not sure if they do anymore, they used to let us put in videos. And so I made this professional one in a class I took at a college. As I headed out the door with my ballot, I was reminded of the courage of my grandmother on the front lines of the suffrage movement. I've listened to my grandmother's stories since I was a toddler. Those first tales were amazing ones about animals that lived on the Colorado. Anyway, you can see it later. Then you make little ones, and you can make these for YouTube too. About my book, where I just 5 minutes talking on Mila Johansson Zoom. Here with another story about my famous suffragette grandmother from our new book, From Cowgirl to Congress. I made it when it was new. But anyway, you can make those and put them on YouTube. And we used to be able to put them here. And in June, they took all that away from us. So anyway, but they said they wouldn't take ours down that were already up. So that was another great attribute that we used to have. Then here comes my bio down here. Now remember to put all your trigger words in here. And then I learned, I made up a thing of putting my website in here. And I'm not sure they're allowing that anymore. But anyway, I'm just things to do. And then all of the reviews. So that's just a lot of things they have. Does anyone have any questions about any of the front end of Amazon before we move towards the back end? So I just can't say enough of what, oh, I hope you can hear us, Dennis. I just can't say enough of what Amazon offers us. Oh, good. And how easy it is to publish on there. And I think, you know, like a lot of my clients want me to hold their hand and take them through the process, but you can figure it out yourself too. I've had a couple clients figure it out for themselves, which I was really impressed with. And just load your books. And it's a little trickier when you come to the ebook. You have to do some different things, like they don't want page numbers and stuff. But here is a book that she wrote. She's going to be a series, and she's going to make the band a different color for each series of the book she's doing. And oh, hi, Jean. I'm glad Jean is here. And so this is a really, really great book because her kids went to college and came out with $20,000 each to spend on life after they got into huge colleges for, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this book here is a short book. This is my book, 101 Surprising Tips. I sent it all to your email. Oh, I wanted to tell you part of the housekeeping is we had trouble with those. The link somehow went bad. And so I sent the actual book to your email. Yeah, thanks for telling me you got it. And this book really does just basically scratch the surface, but it has so many good tips in it for you. And so you can just look up the subject like, oh, do I want to do a blog? To blog or not to blog? It's one of my chapter titles. And then, I have in here early readings, read before your book's ready. And, to be on podcasts and speaking gigs, you don't have to have a book. You already know your material. So they're looking for your knowledge more than your book anyway. Once you have a book, then, oh yeah, it's a flight. So this book I made into a PDF and I gave away, when COVID hit, I had to reinvent myself. And I didn't know anything about Zoom or being on summits or podcasts, and they all want a gift, right? So I wrote this book in a class I teach called Write Your Short Book in a Day. And I put it up as a PDF and I gave away 5,000 copies and built my email list. I had no idea about email lists. I mean, I had like, okay, 50 or 100 of my friends, but I built a huge email list to 5,000, 7,000 by giving away this book. Then I printed it. And it's a short book, 70 pages. The shortest book you can put on Amazon is 36 pages with a spine. You want to have a spine. You can have a shorter book. And so then if you want your name on the spine and the title of your book, that's 98 pages. That's when it gets enough space to do that. But a lot of people are opting to write the comfortable 120, 235 page book. And then longer books are more like 200, 300 pages. We're not doing missionary anymore unless you're doing sci-fi. We're not doing 500 page books. So what I'm teaching a lot of people to do is write your short book first, 36 pages, then give it away, use it to get your name out there and show expertise, and then use it for the outline for your longer book, 98 pages, 125 pages, 200 pages. And if you do each of those sections, you'll have 5 books when you're done. And books on Amazon beget books and they beget sales. So it's just something to think about as if you are doing ever a nonfiction book. If you're doing a novel, that's a whole nother thing. And you might want to think of a series in that. So, that's a great way to go. So that's just, and then I want to tell you that for self-publishing, and you may want to write this down. They said if you take handwritten notes, they did a Harvard study that you retain the information more. So I sometimes take them in Drive for a class I'm in or a summit, and then or if I do handwritten notes, I really do remember it better. In some classes in universities now, they're not allowing laptops anymore for that reason, which I think is very, very interesting. But anyway, so sorry, I lost my thought on that. Oh yeah, my publishing formula. And I think it really, really works because you want to get, this is the main thing. When I did my grandmother's book, I really wanted to get that book into everyone's hands that I knew and onto their bookshelves. A lot of people are going to tell you to publish the ebook first. Don't. Those are people who are very famous. They're going to use their 20,000 email list, get 6,000 people to sign up. You get 1/3 of it, and they're going to make $2,000 right off the bat or more. So they're telling you that because that's their formula. But us who don't have those huge email lists, I always say, let's publish the paperback first, along with the hardcover now, because Amazon just gave us hardcovers 2 years ago. We couldn't do them when I first did my grandmother's book, so it's not a hardcover yet. And so do your paperback and your hardcover, and then have a book launch, maybe on Zoom, maybe one in person too at your bookstore. And this is where you're going to sell the most books. And people who can't come to the book launch, tell them, everyone buy this book on this day. Like ours is Friday the 20th. I have a few extra people doing it now because we're doing a slow burn and we're staying up in the top 100 for over a week now. But then you have your book launch. You try to get everyone to buy the book on the same day. So ours is Friday the 20th. And that way you might even get into the top 100. You might even get #1 bestseller, which gives you tremendous clout. It's something you can put a seal on the cover later. You can do all sorts of things. And so I say, then you wait 3 weeks because you want those sales to trickle in, and because that's where you're going to make your initial money. And I think that's another aspect. It's not enough to pay for your whole doing your book, but it will be enough to pay for the editor or something big, and I always say, make sure that you get your book professionally edited. So then you're publishing your book, you wait 3 weeks, then you put up the ebook. And then after you put up the ebook, this is tricky. You have to wait, you put it into KDP Select because you can't do a sale unless it's in KDP Select. You don't have to be in KDP Select forever. It rolls over every 3 months. You can get out. But I would get it into KDP Select, and it has to be in KDP Select for 1 month before you can do a sale. And then in my book at the very end, I have a thing called Fussy Librarian, and that's one of the newsletters I put it into. The first time I did my grandmother's book on Fussy Librarian in an ebook sale on KDP, I gave away 1,500 copies. But these are people who are never going to hear about your book, who were never going to buy your book. And now they're talking about your book and they're reading your book. And I have one man in my writers group, which I would love for you to join, Dennis, because it's in this town. And you know what he does? He does the most amazing thing. He has a series of 10 books. He mainly sells the ebook, and he makes all his money off people reading the pages. You get 1/3 of a cent for every page read. And most people don't know that. And he makes his whole living off the people reading it. So it's kind of a side thing too that goes on. I learned so much from everyone I meet, little tricks and hacks that even I don't know. And so that's my formula: is do your paperback hardcover, wait 3 weeks, put up your ebook, and then once it's in KDP Select for a month, do another launch and say to people, even though you bought my book, buy the ebook too for 99 cents. You're going to do the 99 countdown sale. And that is an amazing sale because it goes for 7 days. And by the end of it, people are still buying your book, but it goes up to full price again. And I know it's a little tricky, but people, you actually make money on that one too. And then you wait another 2 months till you roll over to the next section and you do the free giveaway. My colleague in my writers group of 4, we all helped each other publish. The first time she gave away her book, she gave away over 2,000. And her book had totally stalled. It had been out for 4 years, and it put new life into it. And now that I have 14 books up, every time I do a free giveaway, I actually sell other books. And there's one woman who's my mentor. I love her. Alessandra Torre, she's amazing. I think it's Alessandra Torre. She does InkersCon, and she's someone to hook up with because she'll give you all these free workshops. And she does Fussy Librarian. And every time she does Fussy Librarian, she makes $5,000 because she has a series and people buy her other books. But she's sort of a famous person because she was traditionally published, and then she went to self-publishing because she decided she can make more money now that she had made her name. So anyway, we won't all make that money, but these are different things that add up and do that. Are there any questions about any of that before I go on to the back end of? Yeah, unmute, Julie. Unmute. Julie, unmute. I'll ask her that.
Hi, she's just about there. Just about, she's getting it. It's almost, she's coming. So she believes she's gonna log in right now and we'll have internet, and so we've got fingers crossed, but she's pretty sure it's all gonna work.
Yay. And just for any of you who joined a little later, Lisa's had trouble with the internet, which I often have on my ranch. So I understand that completely. But we did do the front end and showed you all the attributes of the front end of KDP. And if she doesn't come on, we'll move to the back end, but we'll see what's going on. So I do suggest everyone join KDP now. It won't do anything but give you attributes and tutorials and templates to look at. So, and let's see. So in chat, we everybody put in some of their genres and what they're doing. And here's my new training coming up on Friday, just for anybody who rejoined. I'm going to be teaching for Dr. L and his big group how easy it is to publish your books, and maybe how to use material you already have written, and I'll be giving templates out. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half workshop, and it's a great group to be part of. So you might want to join that business training. And keep me posted, Julie. Okay, I'll go to the back end till she gets, because I'm stuck in my own thing. Okay, I'm gonna go to the back end of KDP. Everybody, I suggest you join KDP today. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here, and leave it logged in. Never log out of KDP on your own computer. When you first join, they're going to ask you to, either going to give you a code and have you do it several times. So here's KDP. Here's my KDP. This is the back end. This is where you build your website, but they'll take you right through the process. It's not very hard. There are a lot of tricks, is all. So here I am. Here's the bookshelf. Here's my bookshelf. It's the first page. This is where you go up here and you go create, and you start loading your book. I loaded this book this week so I could work on my ebook skills. And this is a book against the overdosing of our children in the name of ADD. I wrote this poetry 40 years ago. I've had it in a pamphlet, and now I finally published it into a book. This is a book that we are using as a sample. This is my new cookbook coming out for Christmas. And this is my Cinderella monologues. So when I want to promote, I just go to promote and advertise, and I have it in. And it's only, you can only promote and advertise your ebook. So I am in KDP Select, and I will never get out because I try to do a sale every 3 months. And I just accrued and gathered 20 more wonderful sites you can advertise your books on, either for free or very small amounts. And I will be putting that list up on my website soon for people to use. So you come down here and you just go through the whole process of making an ad. Here's some of my old ads that I've had. I've done many. And then, but if you're going to do it with Fussy Librarian, and they have like 40,000, 100,000 emails they put it out to, then you want to actually go to Fussy Librarian first and pick a date. And I always do Saturday. I don't know why. I think Saturdays are really good. People are free. They're looking for books to read. And then I go back to KDP and I make the sale. Either, here it is. They give you, you can do a Kindle countdown deal at 7 days and for 99 cents. But I don't always do that because I've done them a couple times and I don't have enough people to buy them. When I'm doing an anthology, I do because I've got 22 people in the anthology, 14 people. But free book promotion is the one I do. So I would just click this and then it will give me the dates. And look, it says this book is currently in ineligible for a free deal. And the reason is I have to roll over to the next one, which October 24th. I can do one on October 25th, but I would go into Fussy Librarian and make the date thing. Oh, here is Lisa's on. Yay. Got it. Lisa. Hey.
Hello. Thank you so much for your patience while I connected to the internet after an entire day of being disconnected. Thank you so much. Are we okay if we jump right in? I wanted to.
Yeah. Lisa, I
Okay,
just
great.
went through the front end of Amazon and gave everyone a tutorial of all the attributes that Amazon offers. And we were just headed to the back, but now you're here. And I want to introduce anyone who doesn't know, this is Lisa Ferland. She's in Sweden, and she will guide us through crowdfunding. I can't wait. That's why I asked her. I want to learn this.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you everyone for joining. We are going to go over, I'm going to share my slides right here. I have, this is probably going to be around 40 minutes or so to leave plenty of time for questions. But if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. And Mila, if you can take a look at the questions and just let me know. Sometimes it's easier to address questions before I move on so that we can address them in a timely manner.
I'll keep
Okay,
that. I'll
great.
keep you posted on that.
Yeah, I'm totally fine if you want to look at the or address the question as we go. That's fine with me too. Okay, let me see. Oh, let me back it up. Okay, thanks. And I'm also going to hide my face so I don't have to look at myself while I talk. Okay, but again, feel free to interrupt if you have questions. So thank you for your interest in learning how to use crowdfunding to launch your book. This is quite a different topic than I think you're used to discussing. So thank you, Mila, for inviting me to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Click over. Okay, so today you are going to understand crowdfunding for publishing in terms of exactly how so many authors are doing it and doing it successfully. We're also going to look at the benefits and drawbacks to crowdfunding because it is not right for everybody. So after this session, you will have a much better understanding as to whether this is the right approach for you and for your book. We're also going to look at key considerations before you launch. Just like any crowdfunding campaign or book launch, you have to have things in place before you launch. And since crowdfunding is time sensitive, there are a few more considerations to keep in mind versus a traditional book launch, which I will get into. We're also going to look at effective campaigns, strategies, and designs with real campaigns so you can see what this looks like in practice, as well as key mistakes to avoid to make sure that you are not going down the wrong path inadvertently. We're going to look at success stories, and if we have time, we can go through a little marketing exercise. All right, so who am I real quick? My name is Lisa Ferland and I'm an epidemiologist. I stopped doing epidemiology shortly after the 2019 pandemic. So we're in 2021, I said, you know what, I really want to focus creatively. But I have been doing this since 2016. It was really just when I started professionally in 2017. And again, once I took my foot out of epidemiology, I could focus full-time on helping authors really boost their crowdfunding campaigns on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and GoFundMe. For this session today, I'm going to focus mostly, if I just say Kickstarter, it's like Kleenex and tissues. It's just sort of, how the generic term, but these are all crowdfunding platforms. There are tons of crowdfunding platforms, and the strategies are really the same across all of them with just some minor differences. As Mila mentioned, I do live in Sweden. I've been here since 2012, and I am also a children's book author. I have 2 anthologies as well under my belt, which I didn't put the book covers here, but I am a children's book author. Some more successful than others, but these are the ones that are out right now. Okay, so the good part about all of this is that you're going to walk away with a ton of information about just marketing in general, which I know is a huge aspect that authors really sort of struggle with. And the writing is a challenge in itself, editing, but then once you get to marketing, that's the hard part. So really any of the activities you do for your crowdfunding campaign are essential for any marketing campaign. So in any marketing campaign, you need social proof, you need to have reader blurbs or testimonials. You have to have people sharing your book socially. And crowdfunding is really about generating a buzz. You can do book tours, you can appear on podcasts, and you can do, of course, email marketing is still the most beneficial way to connect with your readers. So all of these aspects, if you know anything about marketing or you've even dipped your toe in it, there are a million different directions that you can take. And that's part of the fun and also part of the headache, I think, in terms of deciding what activities you want to focus on and how you want to leverage your audience. So what is crowdfunding? So very quickly, crowdfunding is a powerful marketing vehicle. Again, it's no different than any of the marketing that you would do for your book, which is why it's great that Mila is giving you her PDF on, marketing your book, because it is a different way to market your book. The project will raise a small amount of money generally from a number of people. So the authors I work with, we focus on reward-based crowdfunding. So this is not the same as asking for donations to your medical bills, which is what most people are familiar with in terms of like GoFundMe or any of those those are donation-based level platforms. And what we're really focused on is reward-based, which is when a backer gives you money, they get a reward. So they do pay a slightly inflated price because the platform does take its fee, and also the inflated price goes towards contributing to the creation of the book. So if you wouldn't have your list price on your crowdfunding platform that you would have on Amazon per se. But we're going to get into that. There are other types of crowdfunding, which we're not going to discuss today. Again, donation-based, equity-based, and debt. That is not covered. We're just going to focus on reward-based. So all or nothing campaigns are 37% more likely to succeed than flexible funding. And the flexible funding is what we see some authors doing in Indiegogo, because they have a flexible funding model available to their creators. I always recommend doing the all or nothing approach, regardless of what platform you're on, or to find a platform that offers the all or nothing. So a lot of authors are like, oh, I can't do all or nothing because then, what happens if I fail? Well, you're much less likely to fail because you're going to set a more realistic goal. And I kind of hate the term realistic, which is why I put it in quotes, but it's true. You're probably not going to launch a $30,000 campaign if you have 100 readers. You're probably going to set something that is a little more realistic to the audience that you have built. Also, creators work harder to reach the goal. And this is because it's all or nothing. You don't want to leave $5,000 on the table because you didn't reach your goal. You're really going to push to reach that goal amount. Also, the risk is off of the backers, which is really, really important, because you want to make it like zero friction for the backers as much as possible. So even if you designed the same approach on your website, you want to remove all the risk from the backer and say, hey, when you pre-order my book, if we don't reach our goal of 100 readers or something, you get your money back. It also means you don't get the book. And so the idea is that they will share your campaign to help, because they really want the book and they really want you to succeed. So they're going to share and make it more of a viral online event, as opposed to, oh, I bought the book on Amazon and now I'm done. There's no goal for your backers to help you reach. And that's really key in the crowdfunding versus a traditional launch. All right, so here we go. So again, crowdfunding Kickstarter is on the left and traditional launch is on the right. So in a crowdfunding campaign, you have a stated goal amount, and stating this goal is important because it is transparent and it's letting people know, okay, this is my goal. When you do a traditional launch, it's just kind of out there. Your book is launched. There's really no incentive for people to buy your book right then and there. It will be there for forever. It's out there, and people usually say, yay, great job, and they just move on with their day. With crowdfunding, you get a public display of support, so people can see how many backers you have and how much money you have generated. And this is really good because this is something you can bring up time and time again. Yay, we just passed 100 backers, or we're 50% to our goal. And so you're putting it in front of your readers again and again and again to help people, invite people to participate. You want it to be, again, an online event and more of a party. With crowdfunding, there is scarcity. You set the rewards that you are offering for your campaign. And so if you have a really, really cool reward, I worked with an author who did in-person events, and it was all like dressing up as the characters and, renting out a ballroom and going through the motions of this really period timepiece ball. Those were scarcity tickets. There are only a few number of tickets available to that event. So because it has scarcity, there's sort of this built-in drive for people to partake in the campaign. When you launch on Amazon, there's no scarcity. Like, it's infinite. There are infinite books available. You can order it whenever. So the scarcity there is not a factor. There's also time or quantity limited scarcity. You can limit it by time and say this reward is only available for the first 24 hours. Again, that encourages people to take action. Now, with any scarcity or limits, you do have to get the word out ahead of time that these are limited so that people know, okay, there's only 4 of this reward, or this one is only available for the first hour or 2. So you have to know that going into it, so that you're communicating and reaching out to your audience, engaging your audience before the launch so they don't miss it. We really don't want that. You also need to make your rewards exclusive to your campaign so that people want to participate. If they're going to get the same exact thing in 3 months when you publish your book on Amazon, it's not as special. But I've seen authors incorporate their readers into the book, either having them illustrated, naming a character after them, kind of going into the co-creation model where you can invite people to write a chapter with you, or get behind the scenes look at the writing or editing process with you. Maybe there's some exclusive offer that you give yourself. Like if Mila was running a crowdfunding campaign and she said, I'm going to offer this really amazing coaching package for my authors at a great deal that you can't get outside of this campaign. That would be a really great offer and exclusive to the campaign. Also, there's fear of missing out. This is true for both crowdfunding and traditional launches. When something goes really well, people want to be a part of it. They want to see what's going on. They hear a really good review and they want to be a part of that and not miss out. So that's on both. There's also social proof on both, of course. They're just different types of social proof. So again, reader reviews are going to be on both pages, as well as, number of stars people are giving. The only thing that traditional launches don't have is they don't show people how many books have been ordered. As authors, we know how to look at the Amazon best-selling rank to kind of get an idea for how well a book is doing, but readers don't know that. Whereas readers definitely understand how much money has been raised, how much there is to go. So that is a bit more transparent. Trust and likability factor is also a big deal. You should always be transparent with the status of your project, why you're crowdfunding the book, and sort of what it is that they're going to get, what your timeline is, as well as an understanding that you're going to communicate clearly with them. And you can issue this trust and likability through your video, through your campaign page copy, as well as your professional bio and all of that. Now, the one thing that is a con, I would say, to crowdfunding is that it is a non-traditional approach. As much as I have tried to drive readers to look at Kickstarter as a source for, discovering new books, it still remains a website that not that many readers are going to. Generally, readers will go to that campaign if an author they know has a campaign running, but they don't generally hang out in the platform looking for new books. So there may be some friction in terms of setting up the account, logging in. You know how people just get about logging in, passwords, I have to enter my payment information again, things like that. So there can be a little friction there. Of course, this goes into the communication and the pre-launch warm-up. With traditional approach, you have a really frictionless experience because this is how it's always been done. So people are already in those sites like Amazon, where they just click and it's just in their cart. So why should you crowdfund? Well, this is because you are in control of your book's timeline and you can control how you launch your book. And if you are self-publishing, which I imagine most of us do or are on this call, you really do want complete autonomy in terms of bringing your book to life. And with more funding, or at least launching your book to be fully funded, you can invest in a higher quality editor, or maybe another round of editing, or maybe you can invest in more books or more marketing, getting your books out there, doing a short print run and sending out maybe 100 books instead of the 10 that you were going to do before. You can also engage with your readers in a meaningful way. Again, as I mentioned, the co-creation, so you can invite them to co-create with you, or just provide feedback and incorporate that into the book itself. I did this myself, and I had, because I'm a children's book author, I incorporated some of the children's feedback into the illustrations and worked with my illustrator to do that, and got such amazing feedback from the parents. They were like, I will buy any book you write from in the future because you did such a wonderful job, and my daughter's in love with you. And it was just a really nice way to get that feedback even before the book was launched. So it's really a nice way to test your ideas, get feedback right away, as well as test out your marketing abilities. Test out, is this message resonating or is it not? Because you're really getting near instant feedback or results. And you can see it. Okay, I put this link on this Facebook post. Did it bring any backers to the campaign at all? If the answer is no, then you're like, okay, maybe this source isn't working for me. Maybe I need to do more emailing, or maybe I need to send direct messages to people. So by having this link that you can customize and share and track backers, actual people converting, you get a sense of who's buying your book. Amazon, you have no idea who's buying your book, as well as, where they came from. Did they come from Facebook? Did they come from Instagram? Did they come from my email? How did they find my book? So you're getting a lot of inputs here that can inform your marketing even after you publish. Okay, so here's some updated statistics. So as of today, there are 331 live projects in publishing. These are the categories of publishing. So there's children books, art books, fiction, etc. There's a lot of projects. You're not competing with any of them, okay? Because everyone has to bring their own audience to the page. What the good news is that you can look at these projects and learn from what's going well or what's not going well. It doesn't mean that if a campaign fails that the idea was bad. It just might have been that they launched before their audience was ready, or they didn't have a large enough audience to support their campaign, things like that. On average, books raise around $8,000 in 30 days, and they have a 65% success rate. This is just on average, which I think is amazing. For the Kickstarter platform overall, all projects have a 33% success rate. So publishing books, you can see, has a much higher success rate, and that's because of the audience, because you're bringing your audience who's warm, who knows your story, they know you, they want what you're offering. You're going to have a much higher chance of success than when you're launching. And again, this isn't the all or nothing approach. Any other platform that doesn't have the all or nothing approach, the success rate is going to be much lower. Okay, so again, Kickstarter versus Indiegogo, just to look at the two large platforms. I would say Kickstarter is a much larger platform. Indiegogo is kind of, the cousin no one wants to talk about. Talk to at the holiday dinner, which is kind of sad. I love Indiegogo as a platform. So this is not a reflection on the platform at all, but they don't get nearly as much traffic as Kickstarter does. So Kickstarter offers only one model, and that is fixed funding, whereas Indiegogo offers fixed and flexible, as we mentioned. With Kickstarter, backers are not charged at all. They do have to put in their credit card information, but it's not charged. So this reduces friction, because if someone's like, oh, well, I don't get paid until the end of the month, you're like, it's just a pledge. No one's taking any money until the deadline. So that kind of eliminates with any time that someone says, oh, I can't do it right now. Not that you want to pressure people, but removing that friction is important. With Indiegogo, backers are charged upfront, but of course refunded if it's not successful. With Kickstarter, you have a fixed deadline. Once you set your deadline, you can't change it. With Indiegogo, you can extend your deadline up to 60 days, which is, if you have a 30-day campaign, you can extend it another 30 days if you need to either if it's going really well and you're driving a lot of traffic, or if you secure a podcast interview and you're like, oh, that might bring something in, I want to extend the timeline a little bit. That's an option. Kickstarter has a lot of community sharing options. They have a much larger community, so the opportunity for either internal backers or other people to find you might be a little bit higher. There's also a lot of third-party applications that have built on Kickstarter that leverage it, so there are more tools available. So that might be something to keep in mind. With Indiegogo, you could message your backers directly, which is quite nice. Whereas with Kickstarter, you can only message through the platform. So you don't get their emails until your campaign is successful at the end of your campaign. With Indiegogo, you get their emails right away, which is nice because if something happens and you don't fully fund, or if things change, you can still contact your backers, anyone who showed interest in your campaign. Whereas with Kickstarter, you just message them through the Kickstarter platform, which means if they signed up with their spam email, they're not going to get your emails. That's another thing to keep in mind of, is just to tell your audience, like, use an email, create your account with an email that you're going to check, because I'm going to be sending really important messages about the reward that you just purchased. You just pledged for this reward. So please, use an email that you check. All good things to get ahead of. Okay, so with Kickstarter and with Indiegogo, you can build social proof with a pre-launch page. So here is what it looks like. You can see this is the title of it, a little blurb, and then people just click notify me on launch. If they have a Kickstarter account, it automatically goes there. What this button does is that when the creator launches their account, their campaign, you get an email saying, Willow Winters has launched the Decadent collection back here now. And it's an email that goes. So it's another touch point. We know people need 7, 8, 9, 10 times to hear something before they take action. So because of that, it's important that we get it in front of people as often as we can. And this campaign had 561 followers, which is a lot. So you can kind of see this one's going to go quite well. Kickstarter also, as I mentioned, they have a lot of funding within the platform itself. So if you are a Asian, Black, Indigenous, or Latinx creator, you qualify for forward funds automatically. You still need to let them know. They do try to find these creators, but it is good to apply. So once your campaign launches, you can apply for these forward funds, and what they evaluate it, but basically they're trying to give these creators more of a head start, because they understand that the community that would be funding them might have less or be underrepresented in terms of financial support. So they do pair a data point with like 20%. So you could get 20% funded within the first 24 hours through these funds, which is a really great way to increase diversity in literature. So who should crowdfund? People always ask me, I don't have a children's book. I have a fiction. I have a novel, or I have a nonfiction self-help book. Can I crowdfund? Of course, everyone can crowdfund. Romance novelists can crowdfund and should. Everyone should crowdfund if this is an approach that works for you, and if you have an audience that you have built up. So first-time authors, you should crowdfund if you have a supportive network. If you're telling me I'm a first-time author, no one knows who I am, and no one even knows I'm writing a book, and I have no friends, and I have no professional network or personal network, you should not crowdfund yet. If this is something you really want to do, that's fine. You need to wait until you have either the readership behind you or a supportive network who's ready to support you. If you are an established author, that's great, but you have to have an enthusiastic readership. So if you've been neglecting your email newsletter, you have to re-engage, and then you have to be really honest with yourself. Are people opening my emails? Are they clicking my emails? Are they replying when I say, hey, send me a message about X, Y, and Z? If you don't have an enthusiastic readership, if you're not getting the clicks and the opens, then you should either just do a traditional launch or continue these, sort of crowd engagement prior to launching, because you have to have a crowd. You cannot crowdfund without a crowd. I say this all the time. It's in the words, but people still like to just ignore it and just, crowdfunding. If I just launch, people will give me money. It's kind of like if you just launch your book on Amazon, it'll sell. It will not. You have to do a lot to point people to your page. You also have to have a timeline for delivery. It doesn't have to be exact, but you have to know where you are in the process. If you're still writing the book, your timeline is going to be pushed out because you haven't even started the editing process. You haven't even done formatting. You may not have gone through those processes yet, so you might not be as familiar. So it really depends on your timeline. Generally, you should deliver all rewards within 10 months of the campaign ending. That's really the latest it's a stretch. People get a little antsy if they've given you money and haven't seen your book in the next year. I have backed so many campaigns that are still, I have not seen anything from them. And I get it. I'm funding the creative process and I'm okay. But it is a bit like you shouldn't launch another campaign until you've delivered the first. So there's that. You also have to have a book cover. This is mandatory. People will really have a hard time investing in a book without the book cover. It's possible. I don't recommend it. It just requires people to jump a leap that they don't know quite yet. And we're visual people, and readers definitely judge books by their cover. So you do need to invest in a book cover prior to launching. You can get it back in the crowdfunding, but you do have to make that investment, as well as visuals of some type. We're going to look at more campaigns so you can see what I'm talking about, but it really helps to have attractive visuals. It doesn't have to be, you go hire a graphic designer for $500. You can, of course, that's nice, but some type of visual would be great. And then also, the marketing message. Okay, I see your question, Lillian. Thank you so much. Also, your marketing message, you have to be very on point with. This is what I spend most of my time with my authors working on, is nailing this marketing message, because it is so important. And what we do is we really identify the first marketing message, and then we develop 3 or 4 spinoffs of that to target different readers. Because you may have your target reader who's between the ages of, 35 and 45, who really like these books. But maybe there's something else about your reader that they really like. Maybe they live in Facebook groups. Maybe you need to really have a clear idea of who your reader is and how your book speaks to them, and how your book speaks to them in multiple ways, so we can get as many of those readers as we can. You also have to have resources. You do have to have time and energy and a bit of funding, as I said, to invest in these things like your book cover, your visuals. If you want to have a video professionally done, that costs money. You don't have to, but you do have to have some resources going into this. Not a lot, but some. Okay, so the return on investment on crowdfunding can be really attractive, and that's why people do this. Nothing comes for free, though. This is, again, a lot of hard work to get just $8,000. So if we look at an average number of backers, which is 150, an average pledge per backer, $50, $60, a 30-day Kickstarter campaign will generate $8,000 if this is how many people you have, and on average how much they spend with you. So after fees, because of course the crowdfunding platforms take their fee, you have $7,200. Now that's a great amount of money that you can then pour back into your book, or pay yourself back for all those investments you did with editing, formatting, marketing, all of that. With a traditional launch, your average number of readers, 150, we're taking the same number of readers. If they each bought just one book at retail, $16.99, your royalties per reader, and I just took, a novel, would be $6. I calculated this from KDP. I don't remember how many pages I made it. But that would, in your pocket will be $6 per reader. Now, I don't know how much time and effort and energy you spent on the traditional launch, but in the same 30 days, you'll get $900 just from Amazon sales. Of course, if you're doing speaking engagements and you're selling books in person, you're going to generate more. But comparing the two, crowdfunding is definitely a very good return on investment. Okay, so for established authors, again, you have to have an existing audience and engage with your readers. This is an example that allows readers to build rewards. So in general, I don't think you should crowdfund more than one book in the same campaign. For this one, this author had a whole catalog of books, in the same series. And so it wasn't that they were crowdfunding the whole series, they just allowed readers to build their own rewards. So you can say you can pick one book of the series, you can pick 1, 2, 3, you can pick 5 books in the series. And so it just allows people to build their own rewards and kind of customize what they have, as well as for you to sell some in your back catalog if you have a lot of books waiting to be sold. So you can allow readers to build, as well as unlock other books, depending on, how far along the campaign goes. So if you overfund, and this is what, if you look over here, stretch rewards, and this is showing that it's unlocked. So once the campaign reached 1,000, they unlocked more short stories. And so another story would be released for backers $5 and up. Once they hit 1,500, another short story was released for backers $5 and up. So really rewarding everyone for participating and saying, the better this campaign does, the more we all get, the more stories we get. So if you have an audience who loves your stories, they're going to love this approach. And this is a really interesting way to do a launch versus sort of the traditional launch. Because again, traditional launch, you have no idea who bought your book. With this, you're engaging with them throughout the entire campaign. So it makes for a very different experience. With new authors, you need the time to build up your audience and warm them up. So you need to build your readership as well as warm up your personal network. Let them know what you're doing and why you're crowdfunding your book. You really want to get your book out to as many people as possible. If you are new, I highly suggest sharing your book, the text, the whole thing, watermark it, I don't care, share it, get it out there, get it read by as many people as possible so that when they say, hey, do you want to hold this book in your hands, they have a really good idea and they say, yes, I do want that. And then, yes, I really want this other thing that you're offering because that's really cool. What Alyssa did for her campaign, My Dental Debut, she was a dental hygienist and she created this tiny teeth summit, which is she organized 17 experts, so dental hygienists and dentists, to talk to parents, because that was her target audience, about how they could help their children get over dental anxiety with toothbrushing techniques and all this kind of stuff, like how to manage your first dentist, all of those things, to really help kids with sensory issues or sensitive kids to manage their dental anxiety. So she aligned a ton of sponsors. And then once you have those people on board, you can say, hey, please share this campaign. You're in this summit that's being offered. Please share this with your network to really increase the shareability of your campaign. All right, so here's the strategy overall. Build, engage, and educate your audience. Offer rewards that your readers love. Get people to pledge and share on launch date. That's huge. And then you're going to do 30 days of marketing. So with the marketing, we're going to go through all of this, but the marketing is really just constantly sending people back to your campaign page over and over again in different ways. Okay, so this is the important stuff. And this is where a lot of people don't do the work. If you build and engage your audience before you launch, the rest of crowdfunding is much easier. It's still work, but if you launch without a crowd, you're just going to struggle the whole time and want to quit. And that's totally fair. So you really need to build your audience by sharing your writing. This is the #1 way to build your audience. If you just share by doing other things, you're going to get people who are not really interested in your writing. They're interested in that other thing that you shared. So it's important that you're sharing your writing. I have seen this time and time again, and you can do it the other way. You just need numbers way larger than what anyone has time or energy for. So if you share your writing and you get people used to reading your writing and enjoying what you're writing, it's going to be a much easier sell to say, hey, buy this book full of my writing than it is, if you're running giveaways that are unrelated to your book entirely. Throughout this process, you have to collect people's emails, preferably emails and phone numbers, so you can message people, or that you're connecting with someone in some way, so you have a direct line to that person. So with emails, and Lillian asked, are there any AI tools that can help with crowdfunding? Absolutely. Drafting emails or having an AI tool help you craft an email or edit your email is going to be really nice. So you can build an email sequence that, educates them what crowdfunding is. You're going to have to input the details that you want, but AI is helpful in terms of doing that aspect for it. You also need to, also social media creation if you need ideas for what to share. There's like a million ideas for what to share. But pre-launch, you have to engage with your readers about your story. You have to let them know why you're crowdfunding and how they should be involved, why they should be involved. People are inherently selfish. What is in this for me? What am I going to get? You have to tell them, you are going to love this story because da, 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 da. If you love this story, you're going to love my new book coming out in February. Sign up to be part of my launch team and get da, 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 da. They're going to get all these amazing things. And then you have to walk them through, you have to hold their hand, how to do it and what it means to be part of the crowdfunding campaign. And then also get feedback on your campaign from your readers. This is really crucial because sometimes we are too close to our own work and we don't see it very clearly for what it is. So getting feedback, also asking for feedback is a really simple way to get engagement. You say, hey, I'm looking for a group of parents to read this early chapter reader book for 5th to 6th graders. Please, would love your feedback on chapters 1 and 2. You're going to get so much feedback and engagement, and you're going to learn more about what your readers are looking for. So this is all a crucial part of the process. I'm going to stop here. Are there any questions about building and engaging your audience? This is really what everyone should do prior to launching any book. It's just most people don't. They think they do, or they're playing on social media, but they're not really collecting emails of people who are interested. They're just kind of, casually putting it out there. Okay, so the next are rewards, and this is where people also have a lot of questions. So if you have any questions, feel free. Rewards should always, in my opinion, feature the book. We want every backer to read at least some part of your book, all your book, an excerpt of your book, a short story you've written, your writing. So if someone pledges $1, I want them to get a short story. If someone pledges $5, I want them to get 2 short stories, whatever it is, because we really want to share your writing, and your creativity should be core to your campaign. It's really easy to think about swag and tote bags and t-shirts. Focus on the book, the literature. They can get all that stuff elsewhere. And at the end of the day, they don't care. I can't tell you how many children's books have bookmarks in there. And I'm like, no one needs your bookmark. It's a children's book. So I think that it is important to think about ahead what rewards your readers are going to love, what they really want. If you have a special service that you offer, like for instance, if you are an editor or an illustrator, you can be a lot more creative with the rewards that you offer. Now, rewards need to feel 2 times the value versus the price. So a lot of ways we do this is we build in digital rewards into each reward. So if you get the physical book, you also get the digital ebook and the audiobook or something like that, so that they're getting not just the physical book, they're getting all of this extra stuff that's really great. Now, sometimes people will say, I don't need the extra stuff, I just want the book. Can you just give me a trimmed down version? And just the answer, no. The answer is no. We're crowdfunding. If you give people just the trimmed down version, your people are going to go to the base level, and then you're not going to actually generate the funds to reach your campaign goal. So it can be tough, but you need to stand your ground and to say, this is the campaign. You're more than welcome to buy the book once it launches, but I'm offering all these special rewards as part of the campaign. And you want to feature the readers as much as possible. I think that's important. Bring the readers into the process. Buyers love it when you can customize. This is just in general, love customized things. So if you are adding the name of someone's child or loved one into your book, if you're thanking them in your acknowledgments, that's going to go such a long way versus just buy a book written by someone and published over here. Okay, so the different types of rewards that are really great. Limited edition, anything limited edition. It depends on this. This would require an offset print, not print on demand. But if you have a foil cover, like a shiny cover or sprayed edges, if you're doing a novel, people love that, especially fantasy, romance. Readers love those details related to the actual book itself. Embossed titles, linen, bound edges. It's amazing. So you can do really beautiful things with your book if you're doing an offset print run, which would be a limited edition, special edition. Any artwork associated with the book is great. People have to love the artwork. So if you are not the artist, it would be great to find an artist who has a large following, and then let them know that you're doing a crowdfunding campaign and see if they would be interested in sharing the campaign as well. I would want to find an artist who's 100% on board with sharing the campaign, because it's their audience who's going to be really interested in the artwork shared with the book. Bonus stories, short stories. We're writers. keep writing. If you're in the nonfiction world, you can generate other guides, you can generate step-by-step processes, you can generate other supportive material to go with the book. So there's lots that you can offer there. Audiobooks, audio commentary, behind the scenes, a writing masterclass, editing. Again, I'm talking about author services. If you offer webinars like Mila does, or ad reviews, anything that is special and can be personalized for the backer themselves. Also, behind the scenes look, that's kind of lower on the level. And then, of course, special swag associated with the book if it's relevant. I think that, again, has to be relevant. But I did see a children's book campaign do really well once she offered a fox pendant necklace, because there was a beautiful fox featured in the book. And once she paired a fox pendant necklace with it, people really loved that, and they loved adding it on. Now you're getting people adding on the necklace to your book, but that is something that you can do. Okay, I'm checking the chat here. Can you give them an array of choices? Yes. So I'm going to show you what the rewards look like. Yes, of course. Okay, so they get, with the strategy, you need to incentivize people to pledge on launch day. So you can do this with an early bird reward. We're still in the rewards section here. But with early bird rewards, you can say this is only available for the first 24 to 48 hours, or you can say this is only available for the first 100 people, or if you have a large audience, if you have a small audience, first 10 people get this, because you want to incentivize people to take action. So if I land on a page and there's 10 available at $25, and then there's 5 available at whatever, and I'm going to check and see what it is and see how many people have done it. There's something psychologically that makes us take action when it says only 1 left. This is why those hotel companies do it. Booking.com does it. Only one room left, or 5 people are looking at this room right now. Oh, I have to hurry up and get it. It's the same exact psychology. It's the same exact thing. That's why crowdfunding is so powerful, because it uses these psychological impacts to get people to take action. Again, no money is taken, but it gets them to take action right away. Also stating mini goals. If you tell people and you're messaging people on launch day, my goal for launch day is to generate, $3,000 on launch day. Can you help me get there? That makes it much easier piece for people to wrap their head around than if you have a $20,000 goal and you're 1,500 funded. It's going to seem like, oh, you're never going to get there. But if your goal is 3,000 today, yeah, I can help you do that. Yeah, no problem. I'll give you $50. I'll pledge. What's the $50 reward? Let me do that. You have to remind people numerous times throughout your campaign that launch day is the big day. The biggest day to have the biggest impact and help that launch this campaign is on launch day, as well as public gratitude. I'm a big believer in, not only journaling gratitude, but then sharing what we're grateful for. And also people like to be recognized and thanked, as well as just acknowledged that they participate in your campaign. So that can also be a good reminder that your campaign is live, and put it in front. Great question. Is $50 the normal ask or less? Yes, you would definitely offer rewards at a variety of price points, but it is great if we want to have an average of $50 per backer. We have to make the rewards as attractive as possible the more expensive we go. So you load those rewards with more and more value. So it's like, yeah, you can get this for 30, or you could get all of this for 50. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, I could get 1 book for 30, or like 3 books for 50. That's a much better deal. I'm going to go for that one. So we want to drive people to the pledges that we want them to go to by really stacking the value in the higher level rewards. So the more they spend with you, the more they get. Then with your 30-day marketing campaign, it is time limited. You do have up to 60 days. Both crowdfunding platforms, Kickstarter and Indiegogo, allow for 60. I really don't recommend more than 30. You just get really tired. You get really tired. Your backers get really tired. Unless you have an audience of 50,000 people, I would say most of us are going to be just fine with a 30-day marketing campaign. And you're going to crash, because this is a lot of hard work. It's not easy to generate funding, and it's not always easy to put your content in front of people in new creative ways every day. You're going to get fatigued. So as much as you want to do, really give yourself some grace and give yourself some time, weekends you can take off. That way you can recover, because what you need to do during crowdfunding is connect with people one-on-one who you've built a relationship with. If Mila launches her campaign, I very much want her to send me a personal email and say, Lisa, I was so inspired. I did it. Here's my campaign. I would love for you to check it out and support it if it looks like an interesting book. And, of course, share it with anyone you think would love this book. I would be touched. The one-on-one connections are going to have your greatest conversion, because these people, they know you, they trust you. It's that trust, know, like factor. And when you mention that, I'm doing something because of you, or because you inspired me, or thank you so much for the feedback that you gave me on chapters 1 and 2, the book is now live. That one-on-one connection is really going to be your best way. That takes time. That takes a lot of time and energy to make all those one-on-one connections. Keep track. Did I email Mila? Did she email me back? Did I connect with Lisa? Did Lisa share my campaign on her Facebook page? A lot of that takes a lot of energy, as we know. Email marketing is very powerful. As we all know, it is great to get emails in your inbox. A lot of emails go ignored. So it is important to take a look at them. And again, design your email marketing so that you're putting the same content in front of people in different ways. This is where AI can be helpful. Of course, you do have to double check it, make sure it reads like a human being. But this is really helpful to say, hey, can you design 5 different emails for me to kind of say this? And then you get some content there to work with. Social media marketing, we can't deny the power of social media. Some platforms have more viral tendencies than others, but really wherever you are spending your most time and connecting with people is most important. I love connecting with people on TikTok. I love it. I love making the videos. I have fun with it. I have fun with the music. It's just my thing. I know it's not everybody's thing, but there's more than enough people on every single social media platform. You could really just hang out in one the entire time. People say Facebook is dead. Facebook is not dead. Facebook is very much alive. A lot of people are in Facebook groups, so you need to be an active participant in the group. And a lot of Facebook groups have a no promotions rule. So you need to engage with people in the group and outside the group. It's those one-on-one connections that make all the difference. So you have to, wherever you are, you have to know the rules of the social media platform that you're running on, and you have to have content that is optimized for that social media. This is all what a marketing campaign does. Guest writing on other people's websites. You can, pitch that during the pre-launch and then have it go live during your campaign. Of course, referrals are something that you can do. So in both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you can generate referral links so that, like, let's say Mila's campaign goes live. She's like, Lisa, here's your referral link. Please share this with everyone in your network, because you have authors who are interested in marketing. I'm writing a book on marketing. I will give you a 20% commission on all pledges that come in after the campaign is over. This is a win-win-win situation. So my authors will get access to Mila's campaign. And then if they pledge, which I would hope they would, I would get a 20% commission. Or I may say, Mila, just keep your money. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to do this. No problem. But then that's a way for Mila to track who comes in on my referral link. How many people did I actually send to the campaign? Did I actually share? You can see if I shared 20 times and no one converted, now we both know, and it's really good feedback for Mila to have and for me to have, my audience wasn't a good fit for your book, or the marketing message was a little off, or maybe it wasn't shared at the right time. So these referral links are extremely important in getting that real-time information on where your backers are coming from. Also, podcasts are great. They're not so helpful for crowdfunding, so just something to keep in mind. Sponsorships, if you can get them, are wonderful. These are external partnerships. So if Mila's like, Lisa, would you like to sponsor 10 books? I will put your company profile and bio in my book, so that all readers will, read who you are. Say this is sponsored by Lisa Ferland. That's going to cost you $250. I can say yes or no, and then that $250 goes right into her campaign. PR and external press, way at the bottom. Nice to have, not necessary at all. Okay, so before you launch, you have to understand your marketing message, know exactly what your book does for your reader, and then Did I say it is impossible? Yes, I did. Without knowing exactly what your book does for your reader, you will not find your audience. You have to crystallize that marketing message. You have to set your goal. So select your goal amount, either the amount you want to raise because you have expenses to cover, or the number of backers you want to reach. Some people want to reach 300 backers. Well, to do that, you have to reach 3,000 people, assuming a 10% conversion rate. So good things to keep in mind. Brainstorm your content, build your lead magnets, educate your audience, do all that good stuff that you do when you market. You have to get other people on board, incentivize them. Again, Lisa, here's your referral link. Would love for you to share on launch day, share 3 times on launch day so that it gets maximum visibility, all that kind of stuff. And then you have to prepare as much material for the people to share to make it as easy as possible. A lot of people, this is where AI can help as well, generate captions for social media, generate little posts for Facebook, and then you include the link so people can just copy paste and post it to their social media. Create the plan, and then of course, do the plan. So map out every single day of your campaign, every article you're going to share, every piece of content, and know who you're going to be reaching out to every single day. You can't reach out to everybody every day. That's impossible. You can send out a mass email, but one-on-one, you're going to have to do sort of piecemeal. So have a plan for who you're going to target and how. Okay, we went over this. The necessary elements: book cover, visuals, your compelling marketing campaign, clear understanding of who your target reader is, why you're crowdfunding, and your energetic early supporters. The referral link, yes, Mila, the referral link is built into Kickstarter. It's on the page. So once you have that pre-launch page set up, meaning your campaign has been approved by Kickstarter, you can start generating those referral links before you even launch, which is fantastic. Before you had to wait till you launched, but now you can do it prior to launching so that you can preload. If you have Facebook posts, you can put a specific referral link for all Facebook posts so you know where they're coming from, or for each one. Depends on how kind of crazy you want to get with it. Okay, so Clay Herbert of Fund Your Dreams says the best campaigns I've worked on tell a specific story to a specific group of people. The more specific you are, the better. Okay, please avoid these mistakes. Everything you should do, just do the opposite. And that's a mistake. Launching before you're ready, launching without marketing strategy, being impatient throughout the process, and having no audience. These will tank your campaign before they even start. If you're not far enough along in your project, if it's still in the idea concept and you're just trying to see if there's any market for your idea, perhaps, but then you have to have a really low goal, and I'm not really sure what it's telling you. But you really need a book cover and a sample chapter to share with your readers, minimum. If your goal amount is too high, because of the virality of a few campaigns, people think that it's easy. It's easy to get 30,000. It's easy to get 20,000. I'm like, bring it back down to earth. Let's find out how many people you have in your audience, and then how to support that goal. And you also have to create rewards that are valuable and that aren't too overpriced. I once saw a campaign with no book cover, no visuals, trying to get $150 per book. And I'm like, of what? What are people spending $150 for? It's really hard for people to see the value when they don't see how far along you are. And so also you can't expect people just to stumble upon your campaign. You have to share an insane amount. You have to share the content that is driving people, and you have to connect with people in a way that's not spammy, that's authentic. And a lot of this can be hard when you're feeling stress. So that is a lot. Okay, so a different approach is there are 3 that I'm going to talk about very quickly. Setting the goal you need. So if you're like, I need to recoup $10,000 in expenses, that's how much does it cost me? I need to recoup that money. Then you have to build your audience, and you cannot launch until you have that audience, because that price amount is fixed. If you set a goal you can achieve with any audience, so if you have 100 readers, you can kind of assume maybe 20% are going to convert. So that's 20 readers. 20 times 50 isn't that 20 times 50, $1,000? Is that going to be enough? Can I do that? Does that make sense? I don't know. Is that what you want to do? So you can launch faster, but you may need to fund a smaller amount with the audience you already have in place. And then there's this micro serial approach where you can launch a series of micro Kickstarters. This would be really great if you have poems that you want to share, short stories you want to share, or maybe those small books. Mila talks about do your short book first. So if you want to launch a series of micro Kickstarters, what this does is it builds your audience over time and gets them used to the Kickstarter approach. And so by the time you launch your larger campaign, you are good to go. But a micro Kickstarter would be a very, very small goal, $200 to $1,000 max. So that's a little different. Here's a great visual that one of my authors did for educating her readers. So it says, like, are you new to Kickstarter? Here's an easy guide to become a backer. Click on the bright green project. And then she had, her bee take them through the whole process, which is really cute. And then, of course, feature the illustrations in the book, as well as leading with gratitude. Thank you so much for backing our project. When you lead with that gratitude, like it's already been done, it encourages people to actually do it. If you see saying, please, please back my campaign, it's not as effective as thank you so much for backing my campaign. But again, this gets into pledge now, pay later, really walking them through, holding their hand. This is on the page itself, but this is also a great graphic to share on social media so that people are aware of what they're doing. Okay, so with the campaign page, you want to immediately grab people's attention with the hook. This is important. This is also what people are going to be searching the website for or searching Google for and hoping that your Kickstarter campaign comes up. So you need your title and your target audience. The summary or the story, you have to focus on the unique and intriguing aspects of your story. Make it as exciting. This is like a press release or like a movie trailer. Why should people participate in your campaign? Why does your book stand out? Why should they take action? Why does this deserve people's very limited attention? It's really good to include the book specs, your trim size, your formats, your page length. If you don't know these things, you're not ready to go yet. Of course, rewards, author's background, illustrator, if you have one. I would include anyone and everyone who worked on your campaign or worked on your book. Again, the more people you feature, the more you can say, hey, thank you so much, editor. Please, share this campaign. I would love for more people to learn about your editing services. It's really nice, and it's a nice professional thing to do as well. Budget, of course, letting people know transparent what you're going to do with the money you generate, and then a timeline. And then the FAQs are a great way to handle objections and get ahead of it, as well as declare any risks. This is mandatory by Kickstarter. What are the risks? Do you have a printer already lined up? Is your book still in the editing phase? Is there any risk to the timeline or to delivery? COVID taught us to declare risks early on with the supply chain demand. We just don't know that much about what could happen in the future. So it's good just to put in there that all changes to the timeline will be communicated clearly with all backers. Okay, here's an example of being bold. So this is a nonfiction book for leadership. She set the goal at 12,500 and generated 15,000. So this is the, what if there was a book that could unlock your creative and empathetic potential, enabling you to effectively manage resistance in the workplace. She was handling like really unwieldy, jargony terms in leadership. And I was like, we need to be really clear with who you're targeting. So they're targeting creative people, empathetic people, leaders. And I'm like, which leaders are we targeting? We have to be very clear. Story for leaders today. Big text. Who are these people? Here's the book cover. We have the social proof project we love. And then this is the creator here. So anyone who knows personally can identify, oh, this is Margit's book. Cool. Zuri Rose, children's book, beautiful children's book, did $33,000. The Wonderful World of Zuri Rose Flowers A to Z is not your average alphabet book. So many children's book authors have looked at this campaign and been like, goals, #goals. This is exactly what I want for my campaign because it is so beautiful. The illustrations are beautiful. And then the rewards are amazing. Go check it out after this to see. She incorporated branded boxes. She was targeting the Instagram influencer market. So people got these beautiful magnetic flap boxes, beautiful rose gold foil title, absolutely beautiful. This is not your typical average alphabet book. Very true. This is much more than that. And it was all about inspiring a love for roses just through beautiful literature. Highly recommend. So from the authors themselves, so much energy, But the feedback you get is that it's amazing to see people really rally behind your idea and your project. Audrey was a graphic designer, and she had a large Instagram audience at the time of her first campaign. She has since done, I believe, 5 or 6 campaigns, and each one is bigger than the next. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. Rebecca was an established author. She did comic books and graphic novels. And so hers funded really very quickly because she had an enthusiastic and energetic audience who was really wanting her next book. Roger was a little more pragmatic. His advice is like from the heart. He's like, if you ask people support you, be prepared for them to not support you at all, which really sucks, but it happens, which is true. And set a reasonable goal, but one that stretches you a little bit, like expect to be stretched a little. Okay, so success story and more success stories. Melusine, Birds of Many Feather, beautiful campaign, highly visual, highly graphic. The graphics for this one took an insane amount of time. So I almost don't recommend that approach, but take a look after the campaign. Melusine, Birds of Many Feathers. She secured a sponsorship, which was really huge. They pre-ordered, I believe, like 500 books worth. It was something like that. So it was a great boost to the campaign, and they wanted their sponsorship front and center. So when you go to the campaign page, you'll see, I couldn't get it all on one page, but you can see it's right at the top. Not all sponsors want to be mentioned. In this case, they did, which was really great for helping with that social proof. Here is more a success story. This is a graphic novel. You see the campaign goal was fairly low, $2,000. And so it went way over with 7,000. So you can see, like, look at these graphics. I think these graphics are wonderful. You can tell with the Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you can add visuals to the rewards themselves so that people can see what they're getting. Normally, I just would have done it in this iPad icon, but they added the PDF, which I think is really helpful. So I would recommend doing that. This was a campaign from the UK, but you can see it says around $8 there, USD. So if you are in your country, it will auto convert whatever your currency is. So don't worry if someone from the UK looks at your campaign, they're going to see it under in approximate there. So the value will be translated. Good to know. Brandon Sanderson, this is the one that this is the most record-breaking, largest Kickstarter campaign of all time. And it happened last year. It was insane. If you were on the platform during that time in the publishing category, Brandon Sanderson personally went on and supported every single campaign, which was fantastic. So it drove more traffic to everyone's campaigns. It was a wonderful thing to see. So this was the largest Kickstarter campaign to date in any category. He is by no means a new author. He is a well-established author with a huge audience. I had never heard of him prior to this. I had definitely heard of him after this because I received a million emails from Kickstarter. Kickstarter, the platform itself, really promoted this and got this in front of as many people as they could. Remember, if you succeed, Kickstarter succeeds. So the more you generate, I mean, Kickstarter is still getting, their 5% fee, but 5% of a bigger pie is still a larger piece for them. So since he went and publicly supported all authors with live Kickstarter campaigns, some people he just fully funded if they were close to their goal. He just took them over the edge, which was really generous and all part of the building community aspect that crowdfunding authors should participate in. And what he did was he introduced Kickstarter to a lot more authors as a way to run pre-orders. So we're going to start seeing this more and more. And he also introduced Kickstarter to a lot more readers. So that is good. Unless you're writing a novel in sort of the fantasy realm, like Brandon Sanderson does, you might not be able to benefit from his readership, but he at least, kind of broke the mold in terms of introducing people to the campaign. And this is what the rewards look like. Mila, I know you asked all the rewards. These are sort of the different rewards I smushed on the back end. So you could get the ebook for $40, that'd be quarterly, or you could get quarterly books and premium hardcover. You could get all formats, that was like 3 items. So you can see like the different price levels and a year of Sanderson. So it was 4 books all formats, so digital and premium hardcover for $500. That's how he was able to generate so much money, was that these rewards are stacked. He had 185,000 people participate in his campaign, which is huge. And the average pledge per backer was 221. So most people went for the quarterly books, meaning all formats. So they got the ebook, the audiobook, the premium hardcover, which is really just crazy. Yes, he ships these all out himself. So, and with 185,000, you're looking, and he launched 4 novels in this campaign. He's working with offset printing for sure, and it's a whole industry. He had a whole team of people working on his campaign. He didn't do this on his own. So just something to think about. You can go take a look and look at the campaign. You can always see, this is all public information. You can see where the top people came from. They came from Seattle, Salt Lake City, Chicago, London, LA, New York, Denver. So the top countries. US is the biggest source of backers. So sad for us. Sweden had 1,200. So sad for us outside of the US to target people in the US. You do have sort of a built-in location advantage, just that most people have heard of Kickstarter. If you are launching from any other area, it is, of course, possible, but you do have to get the word out. And then there's a lot of cultural things that you have to address as well. Yes, he was extremely established. And this was not his first Kickstarter by any means. So he had done multiple Kickstarters. This one was just the first, and that's why it was record breaking. Thank you, Leah, for adding. Okay, any questions? That is the end of that. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you all for your wonderful attention and listening the whole time. I'm going to pause here for questions.
Lisa, do you want us to write our questions, or can we just kind of raise our hand and speak them out? What would you prefer?
Whatever works best. Go ahead.
Okay, so in terms of starting to build your email list, like you and I have talked about this a little bit, but do you feel like it's worth having some kind of do you recommend a lead magnet of some sort as you're trying to build? And what would you recommend that looks like if you're just starting out?
Yes. What type of book are we talking about? Because then I can give very specific advice.
In my case, a children's book.
Children. So with children's book, I would share the ebook in its entirety and get as many readers as possible. That is what I would recommend, because children's books, the digital format is the inferior. It's the least desired format. People want the physical book. They want their child to hold the book. They want those pretty pages. They want the physical book. So sharing the ebook is no big deal. People are going to read the ebook. They'll read it to their child. They may swipe through on their phone and get that immediate feedback, but they're going to want the actual book. So I would lead with the ebook itself as your lead magnet and say, download this story, read it to your child, let me know what you thought, and ask for that feedback so that you're getting that engagement right away. That to me, I think is the best. And the more you can share the story, the more people will fall in love with the story. It's the same concept with readings, audio readings on YouTube. I always say yes, because I want as many people to discover the book as possible, because if they hear it on YouTube or see the illustrations on YouTube, where can I buy that? Oh, okay. And they're going to buy it. Or the child learns and loves the story on YouTube as well, and I may get them for the next book. So no matter what, I think it is always good for children's books, for picture books, to share the story in its full entirety with as many people as possible. I printed off books ahead of time and sent them off to teachers. I seed those classrooms. Wherever you're going to be following up, that's where I would put as many resources as possible. There was one author, and this works for all genres. It's the scariest thing, putting your book out there, especially for free. But there was an author who sent out 800 ARCs to her fantasy readers. And it hit the #1 on Amazon, because she had so many people who had read it for free, and they were out there spreading the word, getting the word out there that this was a book that they loved. Reviews were off the charts. She started with just so much activity on her page that drove so many sales. So it was worth it to her to share. And she was like, everyone said it was crazy for sharing, 800 advanced reader copies. She's like, but it worked. That was a strategy. The more people who know, the more people who know. So that's what I would say. So very basic. Oh, and also Gina, I don't want to miss you. You have your hand raised very politely. I'll go to you next. You are next.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your great presentation. Such a huge amount of information. And I was, pardon me, I have to admit I was in and out sitting in my chair here on Sunday afternoon, so I might have missed something, Lisa. But I'm just wondering, I was going to write a book about addiction and mental health in the workplace and how to help companies write policy and sort of how to improve the workplace, make it more friendly, decrease stigma, things like that. So I'm wondering, how might I do a crowdfunding for that to raise the most amount of money? And then, probably getting their name in it or back cover would be good for them. And I might even use part of the money to donate my services to other companies who couldn't afford my package or something like that their donations would go to making more workplaces equipped,
Yep. So that's great. So with rewards-based crowdfunding, we just have to keep the donations separate from the rewards. So this is it's a fine line, because you'll see on Kickstarter, some people will say, get one, give one. And what you can do, you can build this into your campaign where someone will get a book, but then their pledge will go to giving a book to, let's say, another organization, another workplace that couldn't afford it. So it would be on you to identify those recipients and then manage the giving part. But that is something you can do. What you can't do is raise funds for donation through a rewards-based crowdfunding campaign. The rules are pretty clear on that. You can look at them on Kickstarter. They say nonprofits are more than welcome to launch their campaign, but the funds need to stay within creation of the creative work itself. And then all donations would happen after the goal has already been reached. So what they don't want you to do is partner with a very large organization and then have people think that they're pledging that donation to that other organization and it's not going to your book. I don't know if that makes sense, but they just want to keep very separate. The funds raised for this go to the book. Anything after the goal has been reached can go on to your donation of choice. So there's just a little wiggle room there. Okay, did that answer your question, Gina?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you have any ideas about getting it out to various people, for companies. How would I get it out to as many people as possible?
I would pitch these companies and use LinkedIn. I would use LinkedIn a lot and connect with people. You need to identify who in each company is going to be the best recipient. So that would probably be my first question. My first pitch is going to be hi, I'm so this is my goal. This is my mission. Who is the best person for me to contact within your company? Can you please, really your first pitch email should be just to get a response. And then once you have the right contact person, then you can do more of a pitch. And then your second pitch is really to get on the phone with these people or get their time, because you have to have a conversation. You have to make your mission very clear and then have a conversation with people as to, what you're doing and why it benefits them. But that will be a conversation. So a lot of pitching, a lot of outreach, and, posting on LinkedIn and using the relevant hashtags. It's all about that networking.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much.
That's great. That's great. And also working with those other organizations as well, because they may have other inroads as well. Okay. Julie says, how do you build an audience? So this is a very basic question, which is great. You can build an audience many ways. I would skip building an audience on social media because social media algorithms, you may never see these people again. These people may never see your content again. And I would focus entirely on using social media to get people's emails. And you do this through platforms like MailerLite, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, any of those professional email services where you can build a landing page and collect people's emails and deliver the thing. So that's what a lead magnet is. That's what Leah was talking about. And she says, is a PDF an acceptable ebook to share? Of course. You can also share the EPUB which opens directly up in people's iBooks on their phone. EPUB now works with Kindle. So I haven't tested it out, sending it to them. You can try BookFunnel. BookFunnel is also a way to like auto deliver these things. So it's a little easier. And that can serve as a way for you to collect people's information. So what you need to do is collect people's information so you have a way to contact them again. So you can continue to warm them up, expose them to your stories. So you're going to use social media for free to then collect people's emails, and emails are precious. So some people really don't like giving their emails. So that's why the offer has to be really good. You have to really offer something that speaks to them, that makes them say, oh, I want that thing. I really want that. And so that we do through sharing a reader review. So you have your book cover and the slide is reader review, click here to, click the link in the bio to download and start reading today for free. And then that's how we collect people's information. You just keep doing this a million different ways. Maybe you go live on social media and you talk to people and you say, hey, I have a book coming out soon. Would love to get you on my launch team. My launch team gets access to all these great rewards. Click here to sign up and I'll send you more information. So there's a lot of ways that you can build your audience, but building an audience of readers is so important. Not just building an audience of, I'm running a giveaway on this packet of cookies that, I'm doing a book on cookies. It's like, no, run the giveaway on your book, or, share your story so that you get people who are interested in what you're doing. Great questions.
I have a question. Like for the man who sold all those books, did he publish through Amazon or another company, and then did he buy them at cost and have them on hand and mail them out that way, or how does that work?
Honestly, I do not know the inner workings of what Brandon Sanderson does, but my guess is he runs it just like a traditional publisher. That's my guess.
But if you
so
did
he's
it
working.
Way, would you pass out your own books, like you buy them at cost on Amazon and then ship them out yourself?
No, absolutely not. Not with that number of people. No, if you have anything for a minimum book run, so I would do it with. I would do an offset print run. The minimum print run is 500 books for most offset printers. The more you print, the better of a price you get. So Amazon is great for print on demand, but when you do offset printing, you get a much better profit margin. So if I had 500 orders or 1,000 orders, I would 100% do an offset print run, have those shipped either to me or to a distributor, and then have them ship them out and distribute it. It's way cheaper that way. You get down to depending on the book, you can get down to $1 per book, $1.50 per book. So that's a much better profit margin, even with, the cost of shipping and everything. If you have a smaller campaign, I would say 200 books, you could still do an offset print run, but then you have to have a plan for what you're going to do for those 300 books. So you do have to have a plan for distributing those, but some people like to do that. So then they have those books on hand to do at conferences or things like that. But with a large campaign, with $41 million campaign, that's definitely traditional publisher level. So I'm sure his books were, 99 cents each or something at cost. He was not. But he was doing limited edition. So I don't know how much per book he ended up spending.
Lisa, can you share your program that you have, that it's like a monthly club thing that you were telling me about a long time ago?
Yes. So I have, Leah is in it actually. So I have a group. We meet every Monday and Wednesday, and we talk about crowdfunding, marketing, and that is $119 a month. So we meet twice a week. And that is something that people drop in and ask their questions, or I help them build their campaigns, whatever it is that they need help in the group settings. That is a group. I also offer one-on-one consultations to provide strategic advice on a more personal level, and that's a different program entirely. But the group coaching is $119 a month.
Do you have a link for that to put into chat for everybody?
Yes, let me do that.
That sounds so appealing. I think I'm going to join that one.
Oh, that's great.
And then we can ask our questions and hold our hand through little processes and stuff.
Yes, yes. That's great. And what I love about the group is that it's a really nice group of people. And well, here, you can just go to my website and you can look at all the things that I have to offer. And the group is on the first page. So you can just scroll down to the bottom. But yes. Anybody else? Great questions.
This has been so informative. I'm so happy. I really wanted to learn about this and I want to do more with you on this.
Yes, 100%. I would love to. And I think that, your work, Mila, lends itself so nicely to crowdfunding because you have so many services built in and, an audience of people who know your services and, know, trust, and like you. That's the idea. And so we all need to generate those audiences of people who, are looking for what we're offering. And, you can offer it in a new and exciting way.
Well, and I was talking about earlier that this book here that I gave everyone today on the email, actually I gave away 5,000 of them as a PDF, not even an ebook. And that's how I built up to 5,000, 7,000 emails. And I had none. I mean, when COVID hit, I had no idea about Zoom or emails, or I had nothing, but I did it with just a PDF, and some people just do a PDF of their chapter, but that book did it for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And a lot of times I've had to run ads to my free thing. So this is a trial and error. So marketing, especially in the pre-launch phase, is very much a kitchen experiment. We're trying to experiment with what happens, what messages are resonating with people, and you may have to drive traffic to your free thing in order to get anywhere. That's why you want the free thing to be as good as possible so that they have as much success with it, and you can then develop your relationship with them through that email communication, through asking for feedback or offering services, whatever it is that you can do to build an authentic, a real relationship, not just okay, someone's following you for free on social media. That's easy. Anyone can find followers. I'm talking about real communication where you're asking for feedback, getting people emailing you. And I've had authors do this by creating a podcast and then inviting people to be guests. And that's how they develop the relationships with people. And then that takes them down maybe a different path that they didn't anticipate. But it can be enjoyable in its own right. And then, lead to a book or lead to the contributions that people have on the podcast, turning that into some sort of a product. And then you launch it as like an anthology or a collection of advice from all these people. So there's so many ways that you can be creative and launch in new and exciting ways.
Well, good. If we don't have any more questions, I guess we might sign off and thank Lisa for this incredible information. Thank you. And then also, can you stay on for a few minutes, Lisa, with
Yes.
me?
Yes,
I'm going
happy
to turn off
to.
the recording.